All right, let's just say it. There is a seriously weird, almost schizophrenic vibe in the tech world right now, isn't there? It feels like we're living in two completely different realities at the exact same time. So let's dive into what's really going on.
I mean, on one hand, you've got the AI hype train just thundering down the tracks. You look at NVIDIA's stock, and it seems to be breaking the laws of physics. But then you switch tabs, you scroll through LinkedIn, and wow, it feels like a graveyard of those little green open-to-work banners. The layoff anxiety is everywhere. It's real. And all of this contradiction, all this anxiety, it really just boils down to one terrifying question, especially if you're a student or maybe early in your career. If an AI can write code, what's the point of me? Is this computer science degree I'm working so hard for about to become worthless? It's a totally valid fear, and you know what? The impact of this shift, it's gonna be fast. Now, in the middle of all this chaos, two main stories, two narratives are really taking hold. You've basically got the doomers on one side and the optimists on the other.
So the doomers, they're saying, pack it up, it's over, AI writes code faster, it's cheaper, the junior engineer role is dead. But then you have the optimists telling a completely different story. They're saying, no, AI is just a tool. It's lowering the barrier to entry, and we're about to walk into a golden age for anyone who actually loves to build things. So, who's right?
Well, here's the thing. I think if you're only looking at the technology to answer that question, you're making a huge mistake. The real answer, the key, is actually found through an economics lens. There's this one powerful idea from the 19th century that, believe it or not, explains our current moment perfectly. It's called the Jevons Paradox. So back in the 1800s, an economist noticed something that seemed totally backward. As they made steam engines way more efficient, so they needed less coal to do the same amount of work, the total amount of coal being used didn't go down. It skyrocketed. And why? Because cheaper, more efficient energy made all sorts of new inventions and new applications economically possible for the first time, driving total demand through the roof.
And that, right there, is exactly what's happening with software today. AI is driving the cost of producing the basic building blocks of code, the syntax, down to practically zero. Now, the doomers see that and they think, okay, the value of an engineer must also go to zero. But the paradox shows us the complete opposite is true. As the cost of code plummets, the demand for what you can do with that code, it is about to explode.
We are standing on the edge of a Cambrian explosion of demand for software. Seriously, think about it. Your local coffee shop, your neighborhood bakery. They don't have a custom app for predicting inventory because hiring a team of software engineers costs a fortune. But what happens in a world where AI does the heavy lifting of the raw coding? Suddenly, every single niche idea that was previously too expensive to even try becomes viable.
Okay, so you might be thinking, if demand is about to go through the roof, why all the layoffs? Why does it feel so scary right now? It's because the job itself, the very nature of what a software engineer does, is fundamentally changing. It's like the entire skill tree for engineers has been reset. For a long time, a huge part of a developer's job, especially early on, was basically being a translator. You took human ideas and you painstakingly translated them into computer syntax. But guess what? Large language models are now the best syntax translators on the planet. So if your only value proposition is, hey, I know React syntax really well, you are in the danger zone. The new, incredibly valuable role is the architect, the person who makes the high-level decisions and weighs the critical trade-offs. Let me give you a perfect real-world example from one of my own projects. I asked an AI for some help, and yeah, it could instantly spit out the boilerplate code to connect my application to a Redis cache. No problem. But what it couldn't tell me was if I should use a write-through versus a write-back caching strategy to balance the trade-offs between speed and data consistency for my specific use case. You see, the AI can translate the what, connect to Redis, but it has no clue about the why or the how. That's not a translation problem. That is an architectural decision.
And that's really the heart of it. AI can write code, sure, but it can't make decisions. It can't weigh the trade-offs between two imperfect options. It has zero understanding of business context. And it absolutely cannot own the reliability of a system when it inevitably breaks at 3 a.m. That requires a human.
Now, there's one more piece to this puzzle we need to look at. We have to understand where we are in the typical tech innovation cycle. And right now, we are in the phase of paving the AI highway.
And history shows us the same pattern over and over again. You know, back in the 2000s, it was hardware companies like Cisco building out the internet's physical infrastructure. But it was the software giants like Google that captured the incredible long-term value on top of it. Then in the 2010s, you had the smartphone hardware boom. But the real explosion of value came from the App Store and the software economy it created. And today, NVIDIA is building the AI infrastructure. What comes next is the golden age of applications built on top of it.
It's a really simple metaphor, but it's so powerful. You have to pave the roads first, of course, but the real, lasting, world-changing value always comes from the businesses, the services, and all the traffic that drives on those roads. And that, my friends, is the software layer.
So, after all that, what does this actually mean for you, for your career? It means we're seeing the rise of something totally new, the super individual.
And let's be totally real for a second. That old, comfortable path of just grinding LeetCode problems, getting hired by a giant tech company, and then kind of coasting, that path is getting much, much narrower. The bar for entry just got raised significantly.
Because in this new world, the most valuable, the scarcest resource is no longer simply the ability to write lines of code.
The real value now, it's having the insight to look at the world and identify a problem that's actually worth solving in the first place.
And then having the agency, that's the drive, the skill, the ownership to orchestrate AI tools as a massive force multiplier to actually go and build the solution. That combination, that's the new superpower.
So how do you build your defense? What's your moat in this new AI era? Stop just memorizing algorithms. Instead, go build full end-to-end systems. Get your hands dirty with the messy, frustrating edge cases where AI completely falls apart. You've got to learn deployment, learn scaling, learn real-world architecture. That is what will make you truly valuable.
Look, if you just want a safe, quiet, predictable job, this is probably a terrifying time. But if you got into this field because you genuinely love to build, you love to create, and you love to solve complex problems, then there has never been a more exciting time to be alive. This is the era of infinite leverage.
For more insights like this to help you navigate the tech industry for your career or your business, head on over to aaronwillbuilds.com or just subscribe to this channel. Make sure you join the inner loop by getting on the email lists. Come on, let's be architects.